I'm standing outside my husband's office door, my hand frozen on the doorknob. My 6-year-old daughter, Lily Rose, is supposed to be waiting in the reception area, but I can still hear her little voice chattering to the secretary about the surprise we're bringing to Daddy. My other hand clutches a piece of paper so tightly that it's starting to crumple at the edges. A lottery ticket. 20 million. Life-changing money that was supposed to fix everything. But right now, all I can hear through this door are sounds that are making my stomach twist into knots. A woman's laugh. My husband's voice low and breathless. The unmistakable rhythm of something I never imagined I'd hear in his office. Something that makes my cheeks burn and my heart feel like it's being crushed in someone's fist. I should leave. I should grab Lily Rose and walk away. But my feet won't move. My hand stays on that doorknob like it's glued there. Let me back up. This morning started like magic. I woke up at 6:30 like always, made breakfast for Brandon and Lily Rose, packed my daughter's lunch with the crusts cut off her sandwich just how she likes it. Brandon barely looked up from his phone during breakfast, which had become normal lately. He mumbled something about a big presentation at work and left without kissing me goodbye. Also normal. I told myself he was just stressed about money. We'd been arguing about bills more and more. His expensive taste in clothes, the fancy restaurants he insisted we go to, the new watch he bought last month that cost more than my monthly teaching salary. After dropping Lily Rose at school, I stopped at the corner store for coffee. The same store I stop at every Thursday morning. Old Mr. Patterson, who runs the place, always has a smile for me. This morning, he reminded me that the lottery jackpot had rolled over to 20 million. Might as well dream a little, Mrs. Monroe, he said with a wink. I never buy lottery tickets. It always seemed like throwing money away. But something made me pull out $5 from my wallet, my own money from my teaching job, not the joint account Brandon monitors so carefully. I picked random numbers, birth dates, anniversaries, Lily Rose's lucky number 7. I didn't think about it again until I got home that afternoon. I was putting away groceries when I saw the ticket on the counter where I'd left it. The lottery drawing had been the night before. I pulled up the numbers on my phone just for fun, expecting nothing. My hands started shaking when the first number matched. Then the second, then the third, fourth, fifth, all of them, every single number. I checked 3 times, then 4. Then I called the lottery hotline with trembling fingers and read them my numbers. The automated voice confirmed it. Congratulations, you are a jackpot winner. Please sign the back of your ticket immediately and contact. I hung up. My legs gave out and I sat right down on the kitchen floor staring at this little piece of paper that had just made me a millionaire. 20 million. Even after taxes, it would be more money than I'd ever dreamed of having. My first thought was Brandon. How happy he'd be. How this would solve all our money problems. How we could finally buy that house we'd been looking at, the one with the big backyard for Lily Rose. How maybe with the stress of money gone, he'd be the man I married again. The one who used to hold my hand during movies and surprise me with flowers and actually listen when I talked about my day. I wanted to see his face when I told him. I wanted that moment of pure joy where nothing else mattered except us celebrating together as a family. So, I signed the back of the ticket with my full name, Claire and Monroe, and tucked it carefully into my purse. Then, I picked up Lily Rose early from school, telling her teacher there was a family emergency. Not a lie, really. This felt like an emergency of the best kind. Where are we going, Mommy? Lily Rose asked as I buckled her into her car seat. We're going to surprise Daddy at work with the best news ever. Her whole face lit up. Is it about my birthday party? Did you get the Princess Castle cake? Better than that, sweetheart. So much better. She bounced in her seat the whole drive downtown, making guesses, a puppy, a trip to Disneyland, a new bike. Each guess more excited than the last. I kept glancing at my purse on the passenger seat, barely able to believe what was inside. The drive took 30 minutes through midday traffic. I'd only been to Brandon's office a handful of times in our 8 years of marriage. He always said he preferred keeping work and home separate, that it helped him focus. I respected that, even though sometimes I wished he'd invite me to company parties or introduce me to his colleagues more often. His building is downtown, all glass and steel, the kind of place that makes you feel small when you walk in. The lobby has marble floors that click under your heels and a security desk where you have to sign in. The guard recognized me from the few times I'd visited before. "Mrs. Monroe, nice to see you. Heading up to see Brandon?" Surprising him, actually. He'll like that. 4th floor, corner office. The elevator ride felt like it took forever. Lily Rose was practically vibrating with excitement, asking every 5 seconds what the surprise was. I kept telling her to wait, that we'd tell Daddy together. The numbers climbed slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th floor was quiet when we stepped out. Most people were at lunch, I figured. The hallway stretched ahead of us, lined with office doors and framed corporate motivational posters. Success. Innovation. Excellence. The kind of generic words that don't mean anything but look good on walls. Brandon's office was at the end, the corner suite he'd been so proud of when he got promoted last year. His name was on the door in brass letters, Brandon J. Monroe, Marketing Director. My heels clicked on the floor as we walked. Lily Rose's little hand was warm in mine. I was mentally rehearsing how I'd tell him. Should I build up to it or just blurt it out? Should I make him guess? That's when I heard it. At first, I thought maybe he had his office door open and someone had their radio playing. But as we got closer, the sounds became clearer. A woman's voice, breathless and laughing. Brandon's voice saying things I'd only heard in our bedroom. The rhythmic creak of furniture. My feet stopped moving. My whole body stopped moving. Lily Rose tugged on my hand. "Mommy, why did we stop?" I couldn't answer. My brain was trying to make sense of what I was hearing, trying to come up with innocent explanations. Maybe it was a video on his computer. Maybe someone else was using his office. Maybe I was mishearing things. But I wasn't. Deep down in the part of me I'd been ignoring for months, when he came home late smelling like perfume that wasn't mine, when he changed his phone password and angled the screen away from me, when he stopped touching me the way he used to, that part of me knew exactly what I was hearing. The lottery ticket in my purse suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "Sweetheart," I heard myself say to Lily Rose, my voice surprisingly steady, "why don't you wait here with Mrs. Chin at the front desk? Tell her Mommy needs to talk to Daddy alone for just a minute about grown-up stuff. But the surprise, we'll do the surprise in a minute, I promise." I walked her back to the reception area, my mind racing. Mrs. Chen, the secretary, smiled and offered Lily Rose a lollipop. My daughter was instantly distracted. Then I walked back to that door. My hand reached for the doorknob. Through the wood, I could still hear them, and I made a choice. I turned the handle and pushed the door open. The door swings open silently, and for a moment everything freezes like someone hit pause on a movie. Brandon is leaning against his desk, his shirt unbuttoned, his belt undone. A woman I recognize from the company Christmas party last year, Veronica, his assistant, is pressed against him, her skirt hiked up, her lipstick smeared. They're so caught up in each other that it takes them 3 full seconds to notice me standing there. When they do, Veronica jumps back so fast she nearly trips over her own shoes. Brandon's face goes from flushed to ghost white in an instant. "Claire." His hands scramble to button his shirt, fumbling with the buttons like he's forgotten how they work. "This isn't, we were just to get dressed." My voice comes out calm, cold. I barely recognize it as mine. "Both of you." Veronica grabs her blouse from where it's draped over a chair, her hands shaking. She won't look at me. Brandon keeps starting sentences and stopping them. Claire, please, you have to understand. I said, get dressed. Something in my tone makes them both move faster. Veronica buttons her blouse wrong, her fingers trembling. Brandon tucks in his shirt, his face cycling through emotions, shock, panic, calculation. I can see him trying to figure out what to say, how to spin this. When they're both somewhat presentable, I close the door behind me. Veronica moves toward it, clearly wanting to escape, but I step in front of it. Sit down, I tell her. I really should, sit down. She sits in one of the chairs facing Brandon's desk. Brandon stays standing, running his hand through his hair, that gesture he always does when he's stressed. Claire, baby, listen to me. This was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. It didn't mean anything. How long? I ask. What? How long has this been going on? He opens his mouth, closes it. Veronica is staring at her hands. Neither of them answers. Fine. Don't answer. I pull out my phone, swipe it open, and press play on the recording I made standing outside his door. Their voices fill the office, intimate, unmistakable. Brandon's face drains of color. You recorded? Yes, I recorded before I came in. So don't bother lying to me about what this was or wasn't. I have proof. Veronica makes a small sound, almost like a whimper. Brandon's jaw clenches. I can see him switching tactics, his mind working. Okay. Okay. Yes, we've been seeing each other, but Claire, it's because things between us haven't been good for a while. You know that. We barely talk anymore. You're always busy with Lily Rose and your job, and I got lonely. The audacity of it almost makes me laugh. He's actually trying to make this my fault. So, you thought sleeping with your assistant was the solution? I'm sorry. He takes a step toward me, his face rearranging itself into something apologetic. I'm so sorry. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. Think about Lily Rose. Think about our family. Our family. The words should mean something, but they just bounce off me like rocks off glass. Here's what I think about our family, Brandon. I reach into my purse and pull out the lottery ticket. This morning, I won 20 million. The change in the room is instant. Brandon's mouth falls open. Veronica's head snaps up, her eyes going wide. I watch them both calculate. Watch the greed replace everything else on their faces. You what? Brandon breathes. 20 million. I came here to tell you, to celebrate with you, to share the good news with my husband. I hold up the ticket. I was so excited. I picked up our daughter early from school so we could surprise you together. Brandon's face transforms. The panic disappears, replaced by something eager, almost hungry. He moves closer, reaching for me. Claire, that's incredible. Oh my God, that changes everything. We can, what? Forget about what I just saw? Pretend you weren't sleeping with her 5 minutes ago? It was a mistake. His voice gets louder, more desperate. A mistake I'll regret forever. But Claire, think about what this means. 20 million. We can move, start fresh, give Lily Rose everything she's ever wanted. We can save our marriage. I almost admire how quickly he pivots, how easily he goes from caught cheater to devoted husband, ready to use lottery money to fix everything. Veronica is watching us both now, her expression unreadable. I wonder what he's promised her. What lies he's told her about me, about us. You're right, I say slowly. We should talk about this rationally, like adults. Brandon's face floods with relief. Yes, exactly. Let's go home. Send Lily Rose to your sisters and we can sit down and talk through everything. We can figure this out. And the money is half yours anyway, he continues, his confidence growing. We're married, community property, so really this affects both of us. We both have a stake in making smart decisions here. There it is, the real Brandon showing through the cracks. Not sorry about the affair. Sorry he got caught. Not worried about our marriage. Worried about his share of the money. You're absolutely right, I say. The money is a factor we need to consider. But first, I think Veronica should be part of this conversation, too. Since she's clearly been such an important part of your life. Veronica tries to stand up. I really should leave. How long? I ask her directly. How long have you been sleeping with my husband? She looks at Brandon, waiting for him to answer for her. He doesn't. About a year, she finally whispers. A year. Not a mistake. Not a moment of weakness. A year of lying, of him coming home to me and Lily Rose after being with her. A year of me being too trusting, too naive to see it. Did he tell you about me? I ask her. About his wife, his daughter? He said you were separated. That you were staying together for Lily Rose, but that it was basically over. I look at Brandon. Is that what you told her? He has the decency to look uncomfortable. Claire, don't answer the question. Did you tell her we were separated? I might have. I was trying to if you lied to her, too. I turn back to Veronica. We're not separated. We sleep in the same bed every night. We had dinner together as a family 3 days ago. He told me he loved me last week. Veronica's face crumples. She looks at Brandon like she's seeing him clearly for the first time. Brandon, this isn't helpful, Brandon cuts her off, his voice getting an edge to it. What's done is done. The question is what we do now. Claire, I know you're hurt. I know I messed up, but let's be practical here. We have a daughter. We have a life together. And now we have 20 million that could give us a fresh start. Or, I say quietly, I could divorce you, take my half and my daughter, and leave. His face hardens. You could try, but I'd fight you on custody. I'd fight you on the money. You think a judge won't give me half of lottery winnings won during our marriage? You think I won't get joint custody of Lily Rose? You'd be dragging our daughter through a nasty divorce, wasting money on lawyers, making everything public and ugly. There he is, the real Brandon. Not apologetic, not sorry. Threatening. And what about the affair? I ask. You think that won't factor in? It was a mistake. I'll admit to it, apologize, say it'll never happen again. Judges see that all the time. It's not like I was abusive or a bad father. I had an affair. People do. It doesn't mean I don't deserve to be in my daughter's life or entitled to half of our assets. He's so confident, so sure he has the upper hand because he knows the law, knows how these things work. I look at Veronica, still sitting there, tears running down her face, then back at Brandon standing in front of his desk like he's already won this argument. You're right, I tell him. This is going to get ugly. I turn and open the door. Brandon calls after me. Claire, wait. Let's talk about this. Don't make any rash decisions. Think about Lily Rose. I walk out without looking back, leaving him standing there. I hear him say something to Veronica, his voice dropping to an angry hiss, but I'm already down the hallway. Mrs. Chen smiles at me from the reception desk. Lily Rose is coloring with markers, her lollipop stick poking out of her mouth. All done with Daddy, she asks brightly. All done, sweetheart. Let's go home. As I buckle her into her car seat, she asks about the surprise. Later, baby. We'll talk about it later. My hands are steady on the steering wheel as I drive, but inside I'm shaking. Brandon doesn't come home that night. He sends me 12 text messages ranging from apologetic to angry to manipulative. I don't respond to any of them. After I put Lily Rose to bed, I sit at the kitchen table with the lottery ticket in front of me. My phone rings. I pick it up. Trish, it's me. I need a lawyer. The best divorce attorney, you know. And I need them tonight. Trish arrives at my house 45 minutes later with a woman who looks like she could tear through steel with her bare hands. Helen Briggs is in her 50s, wearing a sharp gray suit even at 9 o'clock at night, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun. She carries a leather briefcase that looks expensive and well used. "This is Helen," Trish says, giving me a tight hug. She's handled some of the nastiest divorces in the state. If anyone can help you, it's her. Helen shakes my hand with a grip that means business. "Your sister gave me the basics on the drive over. Lottery win, discovered affair, husband's already making threats. Let's sit down and you tell me everything. And I mean everything. Don't leave out details because you think they're not important or because they embarrass you." We sit at my kitchen table, the same table where Brandon and I used to have breakfast, where Lily Rose does her homework, where I thought we were building a life together. Trish makes coffee while I tell Helen the whole story, the lottery ticket, walking in on Brandon and Veronica, the recording, his threats about custody and the money. Helen takes notes on a yellow legal pad, her pen moving fast. She stops me occasionally to ask specific questions. "The lottery ticket. Whose name is on it?" "Mine." "Just mine." "Claire and Monroe." "And you bought it with what money?" "Cash from my wallet. My own money from my teaching salary, not our joint account." "When did you buy it?" "Yesterday morning. Before I found out about the affair." "Have you told anyone else about winning? Posted on social media? Called family members?" "Just you two. No one else knows." Helen's pen stops moving. She looks up at me and something almost like a smile crosses her face. "Good. That's very good. Have you signed the back of the ticket?" "Yes, right after I verified the numbers." "Perfect. Where is it now?" I pull it from my purse and slide it across the table. Helen picks it up carefully, examining it. "This ticket was purchased with your separate funds before you knew about the affair, and only your name is on it. That's extremely important, Claire. In this state, property acquired during marriage is usually community property, but there are exceptions. Lottery winnings purchased with separate funds can potentially be argued as separate property, especially if we can show intent and timing. But Brandon said he'd get half no matter what." "Brandon isn't a lawyer." "I am." Helen sets the ticket down. "Here's what we're going to do, and you need to listen carefully because timing is everything." She leans forward, her eyes sharp and focused. "First, don't claim the lottery money yet. I know that seems crazy, but hear me out. The moment you claim it, it becomes a known asset in the divorce. Right now, only the three of us know about it. That gives us leverage and time. But won't I have to disclose it eventually?" "Yes, absolutely. But not yet. Second, we file for divorce immediately, tomorrow morning. We cite adultery and we use that recording you made. In this state, adultery is still grounds for fault-based divorce, which affects asset distribution." Trish sits down with 3 mugs of coffee. "What about the custody threats?" "He'll use Lily Rose to manipulate Claire." "He'll try," Helen says. "But a man who commits adultery in his office during work hours while his wife and daughter are coming to surprise him doesn't look great to a family court judge, especially when we have proof. We'll also document every threat he makes, every attempt to manipulate or intimidate. Keep all texts, all voicemails, everything. What if he finds out about the lottery ticket before we're ready?" I ask. "That's a risk. But here's my guess. Brandon's going to assume you'll claim it right away because most people do. He's probably already talking to his own lawyer about how to get his half. Let him make his moves thinking he knows what you're doing. Meanwhile, We build an airtight case for why those winnings should be considered your separate property. Helen flips to a new page in her notepad. Now, tell me everything about your marriage. Every financial detail, joint accounts, separate accounts, debts, assets, who paid for what, every piece of property in both your names. For the next 2 hours, I tell her everything. The credit cards I didn't know Brandon had opened, the expensive dinners and clothes he bought, how he always insisted on managing our finances because he was better with numbers, how I gave him access to my teaching salary to deposit into our joint account each month, keeping only a small amount for personal spending. Helen's expression gets darker as I talk. He's been controlling the money, she says. It's not a question. Classic financial abuse. You had no idea what was really going on with your finances, did you? I trusted him. Of course you did. He's your husband. She writes something down. This actually helps us. Shows a pattern of financial control and deception. When did the affair with Veronica start? She said about a year. Do you have any proof beyond her admission? Just the recording from today and whatever is on his phone, but I don't have access to that anymore. He changed his password 3 months ago. Helen taps her pen against the pad. We need more. Phone records, credit card statements showing hotel visits or expensive gifts. Your sister mentioned you're an attorney, Trish. Do you know any good private investigators? I know the best, Trish says. Get them on this tomorrow. I want to know everywhere Brandon's been, everything he's spent money on, every interaction with Veronica we can document. If this affair has been going on for a year, there's a trail. My phone buzzes on the table. Brandon's name lights up the screen with another text message. Helen picks up my phone before I can. May I? I nod. She reads the message aloud. Claire, we need to talk like adults. I know you're angry, but don't do anything stupid. Think about Lily Rose. Think about our future. That money could give us everything we've ever wanted. Don't throw it away because of one mistake. Interesting word choice. One mistake when it's been going on for a year. She scrolls through the earlier messages. He's cycling between apologetic, threatening, and manipulative. That's typical. He's trying to find what works to control you. Don't respond to any of these. In fact, from now on, all communication with Brandon goes through me. If he calls, don't answer. If he shows up here, you document it, but you don't engage. Everything in writing from now on. He'll get angry if I stop responding. Good. Let him get angry. Angry people make mistakes. Helen closes my phone. Now, here's the hardest part. You need to pretend you're considering reconciliation. What? Not really considering it, but you need to make Brandon think you might forgive him, that you're thinking about the money, about Lily Rose, about maybe working things out. You need to buy us time to build this case before he realizes how serious you are. My stomach turns. You want me to lie to him? He lied to you for a year, Trish says quietly. He's lying to Veronica. He's lying to everyone. You're just protecting yourself and your daughter. Helen nods. I know it feels wrong, but Claire, men like Brandon are dangerous when they feel cornered. Right now, he thinks he has leverage. The lottery money is half his. He can threaten custody. He can make your life difficult. If he believes you're wavering, that he might be able to charm or manipulate his way out of consequences, he'll relax. He'll make mistakes. He'll show his true character. And we can document all of it. And the lottery ticket, keep it safe. Don't claim it yet. When we do claim it, we're going to do it in a way that protects you completely. But I need a few weeks to build the case first. Can you wait that long? I think about 20 million sitting unclaimed. About Brandon's threats. About Lily Rose sleeping upstairs, innocent and unaware that her whole world is about to change. I can wait. Good. Helen stands up, collecting her notepad and the lottery ticket. I'm going to keep this in my office safe. It's protected by attorney-client privilege. Brandon can't touch it there. Tomorrow morning, I'm filing divorce papers. We'll serve him at his office. Public, documented. No room for him to claim it didn't happen. And Claire, she adds, yes, you did the right thing calling your sister tonight. A lot of women in your position would have let him talk them into staying, into believing his lies about it being a mistake. You're stronger than you know. After they leave, I sit in the quiet house thinking about Helen's words. Strong. I don't feel strong. I feel like my entire life just shattered and I'm standing in the broken pieces trying to figure out which ones are sharp enough to cut me. My phone buzzes again. Another message from Brandon. I love you. I never stopped loving you. Please don't give up on us. I turn the phone face down on the table. The next morning, I wake up early and make Lily Rose her favorite pancakes. She chatters about school, about her friend's upcoming birthday party, about the book she's reading. Normal things. Beautiful things. I hold on to every word like a life raft. Brandon calls while I'm dropping Lily Rose at school. I let it go to voicemail. Then he calls again and again. By the time I get back home, there are 6 missed calls and 3 voicemails I don't listen to. At 10:30, my phone rings with a number I don't recognize. I answer. Mrs. Monroe, this is Veronica Hayes. My hand tightens on the phone. What do you want? We need to talk. There are things about Brandon you don't know. Things about the company. Things that I think you should know before you make any decisions about your marriage. I meet Veronica at a coffee shop 3 blocks from my house. It's a small place, the kind where nobody pays attention to anyone else. She's already there when I arrive, sitting in a corner booth with her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she doesn't seem to be drinking. She looks different than she did in Brandon's office yesterday, smaller somehow. Her makeup is minimal, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looks tired and scared. I slide into the booth across from her and wait. I'm not making this easy for her. Thank you for coming, she says quietly. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. I deserve that. She stares at her tea. I deserve a lot worse than that, actually. What we did, there's no excuse for it. So, why did you? She looks up at me then, and I see real pain in her eyes. Because I believed him. Because he told me you were separated. That your marriage was over in everything but paperwork. That he was staying for Lily Rose, but that he was miserable. That he'd never connected with anyone the way he connected with me. The lies sound familiar. Textbook lines from a cheater's handbook. When did it start? I ask. 14 months ago, right after I started as his assistant. He was charming and attentive and made me feel special. I know how that sounds. I know I'm not the victim here, but I thought. She trails off, shaking her head. It doesn't matter what I thought. You said there were things about Brandon I should know. Things about the company. Veronica takes a breath, like she's about to jump off a cliff. Brandon's been stealing from the company for over a year, maybe longer. The words hang in the air between us. I feel like I should be shocked, but I'm not. After yesterday, nothing about Brandon surprises me anymore. What do you mean stealing? Embezzling. Taking money from company accounts and hiding it in fake expense reports, phony vendor contracts, inflated budget items. Small amounts at first, a few hundred here and there. Then it got bigger. Last month alone, he took almost 30,000. My mind reels. How do you know this? Because I'm his assistant. I process his expense reports. I handle his vendor contracts. I reconcile his budgets. At first, I didn't realize what I was seeing, but about 3 months ago, things started not adding up. Receipts that didn't match the amounts claimed. Vendors I'd never heard of charging thousands of dollars. When I started asking questions, Brandon told me he was running special projects that George didn't need to know about. Sensitive marketing initiatives that required discretion. And you believed him at the time? Yes. He made it sound legitimate. But then last week, George started asking me about some of the same things. He wanted to see documentation for certain expenses. That's when I realized Brandon had been lying to both of us. When I confronted him, she stops, her hands trembling around her cup. He what? He told me something big was coming. That he was about to come into money that would solve everything. That he just needed me to keep quiet for a little while longer and then we'd be set. He'd leave you. We'd be together and the money from the company wouldn't matter because we'd have enough to pay it back and then some. Ice runs through my veins. When did he tell you this? 3 days ago. 3 days before I won the lottery. But that doesn't make sense. There's no way Brandon could have known I was going to win. Unless. Did Brandon know I buy lottery tickets? He mentioned once that you'd started buying them, that you were wasting money on stupid dreams. I remember because he laughed about it. He knew. Not that I would win, but that I was buying tickets. And somehow, in his twisted mind, he was already counting on money that didn't exist yet. Or maybe he had another plan, another scheme I don't even know about. Why are you telling me this now? I ask Veronica. Yesterday you were in his office. Today you're confessing his crimes to me. She finally meets my eyes. Because yesterday, after you left, Brandon told me that you winning the lottery changed everything, that he needed to make sure he got his share of that money and then he could pay back what he took from the company before George figured it out. He said you were naive and trusting and that he could manipulate you into staying with him or at least not fighting the divorce too hard. My hands clench into fists under the table. He told me I needed to disappear for a while, lay low, that once everything was settled with you, once he had access to the lottery money, then we could be together. But the way he said it, I realized he was using me the same way he was using you. I'm not special. I'm not the love of his life. I'm just another tool he's using to get what he wants. Do you have proof of the embezzling? Yes. She reaches into her purse and pulls out a USB drive. Copies of everything. Expense reports, email chains, bank transfer records, fake vendor invoices. It's all here. I made copies 3 months ago when I started getting suspicious. I was going to confront him with it, but then he fed me that line about special projects, and I backed off. I take the USB drive, turning it over in my fingers. This small piece of plastic could destroy Brandon completely. Why give this to me? Because he deserves it. Because I was stupid and awful for believing him and sleeping with a married man. But I'm not going to help him steal from his company and manipulate you out of money. You won. And because, she hesitates. Because I'm scared of what he'll do when he realizes I'm not playing along anymore. Has he threatened you? Not directly, but yesterday after you left, there was something in his eyes. Something cold, like he was calculating how to handle me, how to keep me quiet. It scared me. I think about the Brandon I knew, or thought I knew, and the Brandon who's emerged over the past 24 hours. The threats about custody, the instant calculation when I mentioned the lottery money, the year of lies to both his wife and his mistress. I'm divorcing him, I tell Veronica. I've already hired a lawyer. We're filing today. Good. You should. And you should use this. She nods at the USB drive. Show it to his company. Show it to your lawyer. Make sure he can't hurt anyone else. We sit in silence for a moment. Then Veronica speaks again, her voice barely above a whisper. I know I don't have the right to ask anything from you, but if there's any way, when this all comes out about the embezzling, I'll probably lose my job, too. I processed those fake expense reports, even if I didn't know what they were. My career in this industry could be over. What do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything. I wanted you to know I'm sorry for everything. You didn't deserve any of this. I stand up, putting the USB drive in my purse next to my phone. You're right. I didn't deserve this. But you made a choice to sleep with a married man, even if you believed his lies. That's on you. However, if you cooperate with my lawyer and provide testimony about the embezzling, I'll make sure she helps protect you from legal consequences. But that's all I can promise. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. I leave the coffee shop and sit in my car for 10 minutes, gripping the steering wheel, trying to process everything. Brandon isn't just a cheater. He's a thief, a manipulator, possibly dangerous. My phone rings. Helen's name appears on the screen. Claire, where are you? Brandon's lawyer just called. He wants to meet this afternoon to discuss terms of the divorce. He's already trying to negotiate the lottery money. I have something you need to see. Something that changes everything. Can I come to your office right now? Of course. What is it? Evidence that Brandon's been embezzling from his company. I just met with Veronica. She gave me everything. There's a pause. Then Helen's voice comes back sharp with interest. Get here now. And Claire, don't tell anyone else about this. Not even your sister yet. This is the kind of information we need to control very carefully. I drive to Helen's office, the USB drive in my purse next to the lottery ticket information, 2 pieces of ammunition that will blow Brandon's life apart. When I arrive, Helen takes the USB drive and plugs it into her computer. We spend an hour going through everything. Fake invoices, altered expense reports, transfers to dummy accounts. The evidence is damning and detailed. This is gold, Helen says finally. This changes everything. Brandon's not just going to lose the divorce. He's going to face criminal charges. The company will press charges once they know. He could go to prison. Good. She looks at me carefully. Are you sure? This will get ugly, Claire. Very ugly. He'll fight back. He'll try to drag you through the mud. Let him try. I'm done being the trusting wife who doesn't make waves. He did this to himself. Helen nods slowly. All right, then. Here's what we do. Tomorrow, we take this evidence to George Thornton, Brandon's business partner. We lay out everything Veronica found. We let the company make their own decision about pressing charges. That happens independently of your divorce. And the divorce, we proceed exactly as planned. File today, serve him at his office. But now we have even more leverage. An adulterer and an embezzler doesn't get custody of a 6-year-old girl. He doesn't get half of lottery winnings. He'll be lucky if he doesn't end up in prison. My phone buzzes. Another message from Brandon. Claire, I'm trying to be reasonable here. My lawyer says we should meet and talk this through before things get out of hand. I'm willing to compromise on some things if you're willing to be fair about the money. Call me. I show the message to Helen. She smiles grimly. Don't respond. Let him think he's in control. Let him think he's the one making reasonable offers while you're just emotional and hurt. Meanwhile, we're building a case that will bury him. That afternoon, divorce papers are filed. An hour later, a process server walks into Brandon's office and hands him the papers in front of his colleagues. Helen arranged for it to happen during a meeting. Maximum visibility and humiliation. Brandon calls me 17 times in the next 2 hours. I don't answer any of them. Instead, I pick up Lily Rose from school, take her for ice cream, and listen to her talk about her day. Normal things. Sweet things. The things that matter. That night, Brandon shows up at my house. It's almost 9 o'clock when I hear the pounding on my front door. Lily Rose has been asleep for an hour, tucked into her bed with her favorite stuffed bunny. I'm in the living room going over paperwork Helen gave me when the noise starts. Loud, aggressive banging. Then Brandon's voice, slightly slurred. Claire, open this door. We need to talk. My heart jumps, but I force myself to stay calm. I pull out my phone and open the recording app, then walk to the door. I don't open it. Brandon, go home. We can talk through our lawyers. Our lawyers? He laughs, bitter and harsh. You served me divorce papers at my office in front of everyone. You humiliated me. You humiliated yourself. Open this door, Claire. I mean it. We're going to talk about this like adults. You're drunk. I'm not opening the door. Go home. The pounding gets harder. This is my house, too. I have every right to be here. Actually, you don't. Your name isn't on the lease. This is the rental I kept from before we got married. Remember, you moved in with me, so no, you don't have a right to be here. Especially not at 9 o'clock at night, drunk and aggressive. I hear him kick the door. The sound makes me flinch. I quickly dial 911 on my other phone, keeping the line open, but not speaking yet. You think you're so smart? Brandon yells. You think you can just take everything? That lottery money is half mine, Claire. Half? I don't care what your fancy lawyer says. We're married. That makes it community property. You can't keep it from me. I'm calling the police, Brandon. Call them. I don't care. You know what they'll see? A husband locked out of his own home by his crazy wife who's trying to steal $20 million from him. I speak into the 911 phone. My name is Claire Monroe. My estranged husband is at my house drunk and threatening. He's banging on the door and won't leave. My daughter is asleep inside and I'm scared. The dispatcher's calm voice asks for my address. I give it along with Brandon's name and description. Through the door, Brandon is still yelling. I built our life together. I worked 60-hour weeks to give you and Lily Rose everything you needed. And this is how you repay me? By throwing away our marriage over one mistake? A year-long affair isn't one mistake. It was meaningless. She was meaningless. I love you, Claire. I love our daughter. Why can't you see that? I can hear you, I say coldly. The whole neighborhood can hear you. And I'm recording everything. So, keep talking if you want, but you're just giving me more evidence for the divorce. There's a moment of silence. Then his voice comes back different now. Calculated. The drunk slur is suddenly less noticeable. You're recording this? Fine. Let me be clear then. For your recording, that money is legally mine, too. I have rights to it and I have rights to see my daughter. If you try to keep either from me, I will make your life a living hell. I will drag this divorce out for years. I will fight you on every single point. I will make sure Lily Rose knows exactly what kind of vindictive person her mother is. My hands are shaking, but my voice stays steady. Are you threatening me, Brandon? I'm stating facts. You want a war? I'll give you a war, but it'll cost you hundreds of thousands in legal fees, years of stress, and Lily Rose will suffer for it. Or you could be reasonable. Split the money fairly, work out joint custody, and we both move on with our lives. Your choice. Red and blue lights flash through my front window. The police have arrived. The police are here, Brandon. I suggest you cooperate with them. I hear his sharp intake of breath, then footsteps as he backs away from the door. Through the peephole, I watch two officers approach him. One is a woman, tall and authoritative. The other is a younger man with his hand near his belt. I open the door slightly, keeping the chain lock engaged. The female officer looks at me. Mrs. Monroe, you called about a disturbance? Yes, that's my estranged husband. He's drunk. He's been banging on my door and threatening me. I filed for divorce today and he showed up here. Brandon tries to compose himself, running his hands through his hair. Officers, this is a misunderstanding. This is my wife, and I just wanted to talk to her about our marriage. She's overreacting. Sir, have you been drinking tonight? The male officer asks. I had a couple drinks, but I'm fine. I'm not driving. I just walked here from my hotel to try to reason with my wife. Ma'am, has he made any threats? The female officer asks me. Yes. He threatened to drag out our divorce and make my life hell. He said he'd make our daughter suffer. I have it all recorded. Brandon's face flushes red. That's not what I meant. Sir, you need to calm down, the male officer says, stepping closer to him. You're clearly intoxicated. You're on private property without permission, and you're disturbing the peace. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. I want a restraining order, I say clearly. I want him to stay away from me in this house. He can arrange supervised visitation with our daughter through lawyers, but I don't want him coming here. You can't keep me from my daughter. Brandon lunges toward the door. The male officer grabs his arm immediately. Sir, that's enough. You're coming with us. I didn't do anything wrong. This is insane. Claire, tell them, but I'm already closing the door. Through the window, I watch them put handcuffs on Brandon and guide him into the back of the patrol car. He's yelling something I can't make out. The female officer comes to my door and I open it fully. Now, step outside. I step outside. Are you okay, ma'am? Is your daughter all right? She's asleep, thank goodness. She didn't hear any of this. We're taking him in for public intoxication and disturbing the peace. He'll be held overnight at least. Tomorrow, you can go to the courthouse and file for a restraining order. Bring the recording you made. Given what just happened, you should have no problem getting one approved. Thank you. She hands me her card. If he comes back, call immediately. Don't engage with him at all. Men like this, when they feel like they're losing control, they can become dangerous. After they leave, I go inside and lock every door and window. My whole body is trembling now that the adrenaline is wearing off. I check on Lily Rose, still sleeping peacefully, unaware of the chaos downstairs. I kiss her forehead and close her door quietly. Then I call Helen, even though it's late. She answers on the second ring. Claire, what's wrong? I tell her everything. The recording is still on my phone. I send it to her while we're talking. Perfect, she says, and I can hear the satisfaction in her voice. This is exactly what we needed. Tomorrow we file for the restraining order. We show this to the judge along with everything else. And Claire, tomorrow is also the day we talk to George about the embezzling. It's time to bring Brandon's whole world down. I'm ready. I know you are. Get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a big day. But I don't sleep. I sit up most of the night thinking about how I got here. How I married a man I thought I knew and ended up discovering a stranger. How one lottery ticket revealed everything that was broken in my life. The next morning, I drop Lily Rose at school and head straight to the courthouse. Helen meets me there with all the documentation, the recording from last night, the police report, the evidence of the affair. The judge reviews everything and signs the restraining order without hesitation. Brandon must stay at least 500 feet away from me and the house. All contact goes through lawyers. Visitation with Lily Rose will be supervised. From the courthouse, we drive to Brandon's company. George Thornton's office is on the top floor of the building where Brandon used to work. Helen called ahead, so he's expecting us. When his secretary shows us in, George stands from behind his desk. He's in his early 40s, graying at the temples with the kind face of someone who still believes the best in people. "Mrs. Monroe, I'm so sorry about everything you're going through," he says, shaking my hand. "Brandon and I have been friends since college." "I thought I knew him." "So did I say quietly. Helen doesn't waste time with pleasantries. She sets her briefcase on George's conference table and pulls out her laptop. "Mr. Thornton, we're here because we have evidence that Brandon has been embezzling from your company for over a year, possibly longer." George's face goes pale. "What?" For the next hour, Helen walks him through everything on Veronica's USB drive, every fake invoice, every inflated expense report, every suspicious vendor payment. George's expression shifts from disbelief to anger to something that looks like grief. "How much?" he finally asks, his voice tight. "Based on what we can document here, approximately $240,000. George puts his head in his hands. "My God, we trusted him. We gave him access to everything." Veronica Hayes, his former assistant, compiled this evidence. She's willing to cooperate fully with any investigation. She didn't know what she was processing until recently, and when she confronted Brandon, he tried to cover it up. Where is Brandon now? He was arrested last night for public intoxication and disturbing the peace after showing up drunk at my client's home making threats. He's currently being held pending bail. George looks at me and I see real compassion in his eyes. "Claire, I had no idea about any of it. The affair, the embezzling, none of it. If I had known." "You couldn't have known. He fooled all of us." Helen closes her laptop. "Mr. Thornton, what you do with this information is your decision, but I'd strongly recommend you contact your corporate attorneys immediately and consider pressing criminal charges. This isn't just theft. It's fraud, embezzlement, and breach of fiduciary duty. I'll call them today." George stands, looking older than he did an hour ago. "And Claire, whatever you need from me for your divorce, testimony, documentation, anything, you have it. Brandon doesn't deserve your mercy." 3 days later, Brandon's company files criminal charges. The news hits the local business section, marketing director charged with embezzlement. By then, I've already been to court twice more. Once for the preliminary divorce hearing, once for the custody evaluation. At the custody hearing, Brandon shows up in a cheap suit, his lawyer beside him looking uncomfortable. He's out on bail, but clearly rattled. When the judge asks him to explain his arrest and the restraining order, he stumbles through excuses that convince no one. The judge awards me primary custody. Brandon gets supervised visitation twice a month, pending the outcome of his criminal trial. He looks at me across the courtroom with such hatred that I feel it like a physical thing, but I don't look away. The divorce hearing happens 2 months later. By then, Brandon's world has completely collapsed. His company fired him. His criminal trial is scheduled for next month, and most of his friends have abandoned him. He can barely afford his lawyer. Helen has prepared our case meticulously. She presents the lottery ticket purchase made with my separate funds before I knew about the affair. She presents documentation of Brandon's financial control during our marriage, his affair, his embezzlement, his threats. She presents the recording from the night he showed up drunk at my house. Brandon's lawyer tries to argue that the lottery winnings are community property regardless of how they were purchased. But the judge isn't buying it. "Mr. Monroe," the judge says, looking at Brandon over her reading glasses, "you committed adultery for over a year. You embezzled from your employer. You made threats against your wife. You showed up intoxicated at her home in violation of her peace and safety." The court finds that Mrs. Monroe's lottery ticket, purchased with her separate funds, represents her separate property. Furthermore, given your conduct during this marriage, the court finds no basis for you to receive any portion of marital assets beyond your personal effects. Brandon starts to stand, his face red. "This isn't fair. That's $20 million. I have rights." "Sit down, Mr. Monroe," the judge says sharply. You're fortunate you're not being held in contempt. This court's ruling is final. Mrs. Monroe retains sole ownership of the lottery winnings, primary custody of the minor child, and the marital home. You are ordered to stay away from Mrs. Monroe except for supervised visitation as previously arranged. Do you understand? Brandon sits down, his hands shaking with rage, but he nods. The judge signs the papers. Just like that, my marriage is over. A week later, Helen and I meet with a lottery commission lawyer in a judge's private chambers. The process is strange and formal, but by the end of it, the ticket is officially claimed. 20 million minus taxes deposited into a trust account in my name only. Protected, secure, mine. Brandon's criminal trial happens in November. Veronica testifies against him, providing detailed accounts of the embezzlement. George testifies about the company's losses. The evidence is overwhelming. Brandon is convicted on multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. The judge sentences him to 3 years in prison with possibility of parole after 18 months. He's also ordered to pay restitution to the company, though everyone knows he has no money to pay it with. I don't attend the sentencing. I'm done watching Brandon destroy himself. Instead, I'm at home with Lily Rose, helping her with homework, making dinner, living our life. 3 months after the divorce is final, I wake up in our new house. It's beautiful, 4 bedrooms, a big backyard with a swing set, in a quiet neighborhood with good schools. Lily Rose has adjusted better than I expected. She sees a therapist twice a month who helps her process the divorce. She asks about her father sometimes, and I'm always honest in ways she can understand, but mostly she's happy. She has friends. She loves her new room. She's thriving. I've used some of the lottery money to establish a foundation, the Fresh Start Fund, that helps women leaving difficult marriages. We provide legal assistance, temporary housing, counseling services, job training. It's become my passion, turning my pain into something that helps others. I've also reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with during my marriage. I realize now how isolated Brandon had made me, how much of myself I'd given up to keep him happy. I'm reclaiming all of it, my friendships, my hobbies, my independence. Trish comes over for dinner at least once a week. Helen has become a friend beyond just my lawyer. Even Veronica sent me a card from her new job in another state thanking me for helping her start over. I wrote back, forgiveness is complicated, but I'm learning. This evening, Lily Rose and I are sitting on the porch swing, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. She's snuggled against my side, her head on my shoulder. Mommy, she says quietly. Yes, baby? Are we going to be okay? I look at my daughter, resilient, smart, loved beyond measure. I think about everything we've been through, everything we've survived. I think about the lottery ticket that changed everything. About how sometimes the worst moments of our lives lead us to the best ones. Yes, sweetheart, I tell her, and I mean it with my whole heart. We're going to be more than okay. We're going to be happy. She smiles and snuggles closer. The sunset fades to twilight and somewhere in the distance I hear children laughing, dogs barking, the sounds of normal life continuing all around us. I won 20 million in the lottery. But that's not really what I won. I won my freedom. I won the truth about who I married. I won the chance to build a life based on honesty instead of lies. I won myself back. The lottery ticket was just the key that unlocked the cage I didn't even know I was in. And for that, despite everything it cost me, despite all the pain and chaos and heartbreak, I'm grateful. Because now, sitting here with my daughter in our home that's truly ours, watching the day end and a new evening begin, I'm finally free. And that's worth more than any amount of money could ever be.